Hello everyone and welcome to the launch of Na Willa and the House in the Alley, the second in the English language translations of this beautiful series of 3 books. I'm going to try and keep my part very brief. I'm just going to introduce very quickly the author Reda and the co-translators Kate and Ikhda, and then I will hand over to them to talk a little bit about how this beautiful story came to be. Just before I introduce Reda, Ikhda and Kate, I just want to say thank you to Cecilia Hidayat, who did the beautiful illustrations, who's not speaking today, but because she prefers to express herself through these beautiful drawings. So I just want to say thank you, because they're another beautiful part of the book. Apologies that I'm reading this out, but because you're such a multi-talented group that have done so many different things that I'm not going to risk trying to miss out the many achievements. Reda is a writer from Jakarta, Indonesia, as well as a singer and a musician, as you'll know from the Reda Gaudiamo. She's published 4 short story collections for adults, including Tentang Kita About Us, which is going to be released in English translation by the Emma Press in November this year. But today we're here, of course, to celebrate the launch in the second of the English language version of the Na Willa series, Na Willa and the House in the Alley, which was first published by Post Press in Indonesia in 2018. Kate Wakeling, who is one of the co-translators of the book, is a poet and musicologist. Her debut poetry for children, Moon Juice, won the Clipper in 2017 and was nominated for the Carnegie Medal, and her second collection, Cloud Soup, was shortlisted for the Clipper in 2022. Kate studied music at Cambridge University and holds a PhD in Balinese gamelan music from SOAS. And last but not least, Ayuning Maharsi Degoul is a Japanese-Indonesian-born French poet, creative director, curator, and art teacher, currently living in Canada. Her debut pamphlet, Ikhda by Ikhda, was published by the Emma Press in 2014, and her poems have been published in Mildly Erotic Verse, the Emma Press Anthology in Motherhood, and more recently in 2019, a beautiful art square, The Goldfish. As well as these publications, she is the co-translator, of course, of Na Willa and the House in the Alley. So enough of all that information. Reda, I'd like to hand over to you. So those of you that have already received your copy will know that this story feels quite different. And Reda, I'd like to hear a little bit about what inspired this sequel.
The Na Willa actually never meant to be a children's book. I didn't even think of Na Willa being published as a book. So actually it started as a content in my blog and my Facebook notes. I was started with Facebook at the time in 2008, I think. And then I start write, and then people asked to publish it. And then after the first book, Macy and Teddy asked for the second one, for the sequel, and I just said yes. I'm writing the sequel, which actually I didn't, and I have no intention actually to write the second one. But suddenly it's like everybody's asking about the second one, and keep asking, and then I start write the book. And the second one is I decided to focus on my younger readers. So, and I decided to create, or not to create, to have Na Willa as a friend of the readers, of my readers, and for the mothers and the fathers, for the parents. I really want them to remember their childhood and respect the children, and because I think like what I saw lately is like parents seems to be very I don't know. I mean, they forgot that their children have hearts, have feelings, have ideas. I mean, like things that they have for themselves, and they want to let it out. But it feels like parents forgot to listen to their children. So I dedicated this book for the children and the parents. So for the parents, so they can remember when they're young, when they want to be listened. Now they have their children who wants to be listened as well. So that's where it started. The second one.
Thank you, Reda. And I think I think you can definitely see that when you read it, that it's a book that both children and adults get a lot from, because there's really that care gone into the emotions of a child's reactions and as a child experiences something. I am conscious that because of my terrible mix up with times, one of the co-translators, Kate, has already been here for an hour and a half and has to leave another commitment. So if it's okay with everyone, I might be a bit untraditional and ask one of the translators to read a passage first before we go back to Reda to hear not just a few more passages, but some of the musical inspiration in the story. Would that be okay, Reda, if I just invite
Yes,
you?
yeah, yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes, please.
Kate, could you share a little bit of your English language version of?
Yeah, I feel bad also because the passage I really wanted to read is from towards the end of the book. So I hope it's not too jumpy to move to that part. But it's just a passage I really loved. It yes, I suppose I feel like what's so special about Reda's writing is sort of capturing these very special details of childhood, particularly kind of sensory things that I think we tend to forget about as adults, and then suddenly you kind of meet them on the page and think, yes, I remember fascination with tiny cutlery on aeroplanes or things like that. So I really wanted to read this passage, which is called Flying. Flying is the roar of the car engine, ready to zoom off. Mac hurries into the car and holds my hand. Then the car speeds off, turning the corner without slowing. Dul, Ida, Bud, and Mbok disappear round the bend. Flying is having swollen eyes and a runny nose because I've been crying so much. Mac says I have to stop crying so I don't catch a cold. But how? And then I start crying again because I remember very tiny yellow chick had to go to Dul's house. Flying is queuing, then walking up and down stairs and then boarding the plane. Having to rush because the people behind Mac and Pac are impatient. They want to sit in their cramped little seats as soon as they can and put their seatbelts over their waists as quickly as possible. I just want to chat to the lady in the orange uniform with the kind smile. Flying is feeling the vibrations through your body and ringing in your ears, your body feeling like it's floating, even though everything around you stays in one place. And then everything grows smaller and smaller and smaller. Houses are tiny as matchboxes, and then, for a long time, they vanish from view. Time is like a thread. Boat and ships are like dots in sparkling blue water. Flying is clouds floating all around the plane. I want to touch a cloud, Mac. Can you open the window? Mac shakes her head. You can't open the window because it'd be very dangerous for the plane. Let's just look at the clouds from here. But I feel like the cloud is calling me to touch it. Or it could be somewhere I could play in, or jump around in, or hide in, or lie on. It must be very soft. Flying is getting food in a box with tiny cutlery. Being called sweet child, then being given sweets by the lady in the orange uniform. Then feeling sleepy, but waking up again when the plane shakes, then growls, then scrapes along the ground and stops a few moments later. Clack, clack, clack. Everyone takes off their seatbelts and quickly stands up. They take their bags and boxes and packages down from the lockers overhead. Then they line up, wanting to get off the plane as quick as they can. Mac grumbles. Why is everyone in such a hurry to get off this plane? Don't they realise the plane will wait for us all? Welcome to Jakarta, Willa. You and Mac are going to be very happy here. Mac smiles, his eyes blinking in the light. But yes, thanks again to Reda for writing such a beautiful book, and Ikhda, it was a real joy to work with you on this as well.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Kate. Beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you.
I do feel bad to have gone to leapt to the kind of end of the book. I hope it's not. I hope yes. I'm not, it was a bit of a spoiler.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's there's a little more chapter to that after that.
Reda, why don't you? Thank you so much, Kate. It's
Thank you, Kate.
So beautiful, such a beautiful reading and translation. But how you read it is just, yeah, I was getting emotional as well reading it. Reda, why don't you take us right back? So Kate's given us as a sneak preview of something that happens a little further along in the stories. Why don't you take us right back and perhaps give people listening an introduction from the very start of the story?
Okay. Okay, I'll read. But I cannot read as beautiful as Kate. Okay, I try my best. This is the first chapter, just like Pa. I guess Mo is right. I do like Pa. My skin stays pale even if I play outside all afternoon. My hair just is stiff and straight. If I tie it up at night with strips of newspaper and rubber bands, sure, it'll go wavy for an hour or two. But after that, brief, happy, curly hair time, my hair returns. But after that brief, happy, curly hair time, my hair returns to its straight as a broomstick state. And my eyes, yep, just like Mo says, they vanish when I laugh. I have the exact same eyes as Pa. Pa loves drawing and he'll draw anywhere, anytime. When he sits out on the terrace, he keeps some blank paper and a pen or pencil to hand. When he's smoking, he'll draw whatever pops into his head. I wonder if Pa carries on drawing the whole time he's at work. When I sit down next to him, Pa always explains his pictures to me, or he'll make up story from the little sketches he's drawn. When we were at church, Pa often draws on the weekly newsletter while he listens to the pastor's speech. Pa will draw on just about anything, on calendar, on Mark's shopping list, on yesterday's paper, even on the dining room wall. At first, Pa just drew on a little bit of wall by the corner of the table. But after a while, his drawing started spreading everywhere. I wonder if it's just our house that has walls covered in drawings by a grown-up. I never seen Farida's father or Boot's father or Dul's father draw anything. The walls in their house are white and clean, but Ma says it's all right. But drawings are amazing. Ma and I love coloring them in. They look extra excellent in color. And me, I love drawing too. I can fill the whole of my sketchbook with very tiny yellow chick and Dul and Ikhda and Boot and Bo and Ma and Pa and trees and swings like Pa does. So yes, I guess Bo is right. I'm just like Pa. Okay.
Thank you, Reda. That just every time I've now heard it and read that, it has just made me want to pick up a pencil, which I think is again one of the beautiful things about the Na Willa stories, that it serves as a lovely reminder to adults about all the exciting, creative, sensory, I think, things that are just there in the everyday and waiting to be done, especially him drawing on the walls. I mean, who doesn't want to do that now in, in their house? One of the things
Thank
that
you, Kate.
I love about the Na Willa stories is this element of creativity comes out in lots of different ways. So the cooking and the dishes that she tries and describes in perfect detail, that even if you've not encountered them, it makes you really want to eat them, or drawing in this one, or the weather and the music, I think is a big thing about this book, particularly reading it in translation. That of course that I don't know these songs, but the musicality really comes through, and that of course songs are featured in both books. Could you tell us a little bit about that, Reda, how your work as a musician and as a singer has influenced your writing, how they kind of relate to each other, music in your life and writing in your life?
I think I started singing when I was in a kindergarten. No, maybe earlier than that, before school. And my mother taught me how to sing because she loved listening to the radio. And my mother also the one who taught me to read. So, but I think it's my dad who I think he's the one who, how do you say it? When we work, there's always music in the house. I mean, like when we read something, he always plays something, a music, an instrument, which from that moment, I think I learned classical music. I just listen to it. I never pay any attention what kind of music, who's the composer or anything. Just so it's like music is part of our daily life. So when I write, especially when I think it's what's funny is about it, when I write from Na Willa, I have a playlist, and I have one song that I keep playing. Always, I play it again and again and again and again until the text is finished, and after that, I just don't feel any connection to that music anymore. So this is this kind of strange, it's funny. So it's like Na Willa. The first Na Willa was the song of the Na Willa is Bonjour Bonjour from L'autobus au vapeur. It's a French group. It's a very busy and it's a canon song. It's so noisy. I mean, and I now when I look back, it's like, how can I listen to such music while I'm writing? But for the Na Willa second, it's the French singer François Hardy. I put a piece of his song in Indonesian version. There's a song of that, and it played again and again and again. And after that, it just like I lost interest on that song. So I don't know. I mean, like, and but when I editing the text, that's a different story. Sometimes I feel that when I'm editing my story, it's like music is so disturbing. So it's like, well, I don't know. It's like it's a complete. It's a totally different process. I mean, like, while I'm writing and editing even my own text, I mean, like, I need a quiet time when I'm editing, but I need a stimulation, maybe less more like a song. And for the third Na Willa, I have this a song from the 70s, I think, from American group called Love Grows Where My Rosemary Grows. Yeah, I think it's a band, and It's a kind of band, a rock band, and it plays again and again and again. And now, if you ask me to play the song, I will say no thanks. Yeah, yeah. If you ask about my music, this is kind of strange. Maybe I never want to listen to my own music when I'm home. So it's like, even when I'm working, I feel like it's strange to listen to your own voice. So it's like, in this house, my song is never played. Not a single one. I mean, like, I mm, I ban everybody. I ban everyone to play my song when I'm home. So they can play whenever I'm not at home, but when I'm here, I mean, like, oh, it's so strange to listen to your voice. I mean, to even I'm okay when I'm doing my music, when I'm in a studio, when I'm doing the mixing and mastering. That's okay, but once it's done, it's like, that's it. I don't want to listen anymore. I know.
I hope you're gonna break that rule a little bit later to share some of the music that is featured in the story. I'll let you
Okay.
catch your breath 1 second, Reda, because I know that Ikhda is willing to let us hear a little bit of
Yeah.
the music, and I'm just going to say, I know Kate, as I said, has had to leave because of my mistake, that I advertised the English one as 11 till 12. So thank you so much, Kate.
Goodbye, sorry.
So we'll say goodbye to Kate and hear from Ikhda, who, as we said, is together with Kate, the co-translator. Ikhda, could you tell us a little bit about your perspective? And I know that you could help us enjoy some of the musical aspect of the books.
Hi everyone. Hi. I'm so
Hi,
happy
Ikhda.
to be here. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for Reda for her trust.
Thank you.
And yeah, translating Na Willa is like going back into my childhood. And I was like, before I left Indonesia, I was always thinking about like how can I tell the stories? How can I tell how wonderful my childhood was in Indonesia to my children, to my own children. But yeah, with the Na Willa, I can just read these two books to my kids, and then they will just understand how the culture is so rich in Indonesia, and how the children in Indonesia will I was born around 80s, right? 85, 84, and at that time kids were running around everywhere, and we were so free. And I don't know if you remember the chapter that that Degoul was literally running after the train. It was real. I mean, it was the I can't just explain it by words. So maybe I should read some. Maybe I should read chapter to help you guys to imagine the childhood in Indonesia, and why our Indonesian children are so happy, and especially at that time. So yeah. Sorry, Georgia and Reda, I'm changing the chapter again because I feel
It's okay.
yeah. Since I'm a teacher as well, and I think this chapter says a lot. So it's going to school with Pa. It's early in the morning and I'm already up. Ma is too. I have a shower and put my white socks and my shoes. But how about Pa? Where is Pa? He's not in the kitchen. Is he already awake? Heck. Oh, wait a minute. I hear whistling coming from behind the door. He just finished a cigarette and is about to eat breakfast. He has white bread with butter and sugar on the top, and he drinks hot tea without any sugar. My lunchbox, filled with omelette cut into little squares, and my water bottle are already in Pak's hands. So, are you ready to show me the way to the school, Willa? I know it. I hold Pak's hand and we go outside. I explain how we get to school. First, we have to turn left, then right, then turn right again, then left again, and then the school is just right there. Mark comes with us to the front of the house. I climb into the seat on the front of the bike. We set off with Pak pedaling and whistling. I don't know the tune. It seems like a happy song, so I bop my head in time. I forget to tell him to turn right because I'm enjoying listening to him so much. But surprisingly enough, he knows the way to go to school. When we arrive, he turns his bike round and says goodbye. I'll pick you up this afternoon, Willa. Then he waves and heads off to work. When the school day is finished, I see that Pa is already in the front of the school, waiting for me on his bicycle. Willa, look, you have a present from Omsi. Pa gives me a parcel wrapped in brown paper and tied with thick red string. You can eat them this evening, or you can put them in your lunch box tomorrow, says Pa. When I open the parcel, I find 2 chocolate bars wrapped in white papers with big blue letters that say Folly Milk. There are also some chocolates with swirly pattern and a few more in the shape of umbrellas. Woo-wee! C is an excellent person. Pa, can I eat some of these chocolates while we're on the bike? Pa is silent for a little while. Then he says, sure, but try not to eat all of them if possible. Share some with Pa, all right? This is the best ever journey home. Riding on the bike with Pa while eating chocolate. And 1 chocolate is enough. I decide to eat the rest with Ma when we get home. On the way back, I tell Pa all about my friends Asi, Eko, and Endang who use the face powder. I tell him about Joko who speaks only Japanese, Gatot who never finishes his sentences, Sumi who cries whenever she doesn't finish her coloring, and Sri who is always teasing her. By the time I've told all these stories, Pa can't stop laughing. And while Pa pedals along, just like Ma, he loves to sing and make up his own song. Ma often sings about the flowers in the garden, the roses and jasmine, but Pa makes up a song all about me and my friends. Willa, oh Willa, in her new school, she has so many new friends. There's Gatot, Sumi, Eko, Asi, Endang, Sri, and Joko. Oh, I love Pak's song. Willa, oh Willa, in her new school, she has so many new friends. There's Gatot, Sumi, Eko, Asi, Endang, Sri, and Joko. So I'm so sorry if you hear some voices because it's well, my kids are going to school and my husband is taking care of everything. So thank you so much for listening.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you, Ikhda.
Ikhda, thank you for bringing it to life so much, that beautiful reading. Thank you. Reda, would you like to respond to how is it to hear the English version read out loud? Because I know I've posted out your copies, but I think they won't have arrived yet to you. How does it feel to kind of meet Na Willa again, who's very much your character, and now I guess she's coming kind of back in a different language? I'm curious to know your reaction as the creator of Na Willa.
It's wow, it's really amazing. It's from the day I heard that Emma has interest on Na Willa, it was like I couldn't sleep. It's like, really? Wow. And when I read Ikhda and Kate works in English, it's like, it's really like, so it's real. It's like, wow. And now that's for the first one, and now for the second one is even like, it's incredible. Thank you, Ikhda, and thank you, Kate. I think no, thank you to the Emma Press who choose Na Willa to introduce it to children everywhere who speak English, and I'm so happy. I think it's beyond happy. It's like, it's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so like thrilled.
That's so lovely to hear, Reda. I'm so glad to have been introduced to this beautiful book. It's such a family favourite. I just want to go back to a point you honestly told the story of both the books, and said that you hadn't intended Na Willa to be a book, and it wasn't meant to be a sequel. But I would like to ask particularly, because a thing I love about this Na Willa, so this sequel, the Na Willa, The House in the Alley, without revealing too much of the story, is it's very sad in places, and not necessarily everything's resolved, which I think is often, when you read children's stories, they follow that very linear pattern of there's a scene, there's a problem, and that's resolved, and that may or may not be what happens in this book. So I wanted to hear a little bit more of, you told us about the musical differences of different music that as you were writing both the books, but did this book feel very different to write because you were following that that very clear story, whereas the first Na Willa book is lots of different stories that can be read on their own, and this one, each chapter can be read on its own, but of course there's a big decision, let's say, without revealing what then happens, and there is a very clear change. What kind of did you know that's what you wanted to do with the story before you started it, or did you start writing and then it kind of happened?
I think the big events in the books, I know I know what I want to write, but it's, I think, no, I mean the emotion, I think it's more on the emotion that I really know what I want to put down in writing. It's more like, this one is not a happy, cheery kind of story. And why I think it's, and as you said, there are problems, and some are not resolved. Some is like hanging there. It's like, well, I think I believe that children should children also understand that things, not everything should be can be resolved. I mean, some problems are still there, and they have problems too. They have broken-hearted for things in their own words. So I think, like, I'd like to acknowledge that, and I like to let the parents also knows that the children also experience pain or heartaches, and it's okay. I mean, it's a part of children growing up, and we shouldn't like promise them like that everything will be okay. No, sometimes things are not okay, and it's okay not to be okay. So that's the idea, the whole idea for the second one. And but I kind of struggle in finding the, in put them in one package. I mean, like there's one thing that I know it's not good for a writer. I know but it's hard for me to make an outline. I mean, like I just when I had an idea, I just put them in writing. It's like scattered everywhere. I just started one chapter and stop at certain part and then start a new one, and then it's like wow, it's a chaotic process. I think maybe for others it's not that's not ideal at all. But and then I read it everything, and then I start put it like a puzzle. So this one should be in front, this one, and try to finish each chapter, and then by the end, okay, it becomes a complete one. The last chapter was the one that I know is going to be the last chapter since from the very beginning. That's for the last one. But the first one, it's made up. I mean, I just wrote it just by the end of the whole process. I just feel like I need something to connect the first one and the second one. The first one started with just like Ma, and this one I just want to have Pa, the father, more prominent role. Maybe let's say I want him to be there. So I started with that chapter. It's not ideal at all. Yeah. Hope it answered your question.
Thank you, Reda. Thank you. I'm going to ask a question that James has put in the chat that is also something I'm really curious about. And Ikhda, this I think it's to both you and Kate. So James has asked about the use of footnotes, which quite a lot of people have commented on being very unusual for a children's book. So he said, did you always know that you would use footnotes in English, or was it a decision made later? And are there footnotes in the original version? Shall we ask you first, and you tell us a bit about the process of bringing it into English, and then I will ask. We'll move to you, Reda, because of course that's interesting kind of translation going on within Indonesia before it even gets brought into English. So Ikhda, can you tell us a bit of your
Thank you so much. Yeah, I would like to say thank you for the question, James. And it's indeed a really important question, and it's about the whole process of Na Willa. So to let you know, we worked on the second book about like more than 6 months, as I recall, and it was about the endless communication. I was in Japan at that time, and Reda in Jakarta, and Kate in England. So we haven't stopped talking by email, and I remember also we had conversations. We have the video chat and whatever the kind of communications we had. But well, first of all, for me, it's about the challenge was about to bring the Indonesian culture and for specifically Javanese, because as you know, Indonesia is a big country with so many islands, and Java has its own dialect. And like I mentioned before, I'm so proud, and life has its own surprise, and Na Willa is the biggest surprise for me too. I mean, I was born in Java, in Surabaya, the city where Na Willa was born. I mean, so it was all connected, and I don't want to personally, well, I'm lucky to have a co-translator, Kate, as my co-translator, because just to let you know, Kate has learned so many things about Indonesia. Kate, as a musician as well, she's playing gamelan, as I know. So everything's connected. The universe was like super agree of our collaboration. It was so fun. It was so powerful. So yeah, for the actually, we haven't decided alone. All the all the Japanese words we kept, we had discussed before with Kate and Reda and Emma and myself, like which words we keep and which words we translate English, right? And yeah, the footnotes are always, we rarely easily agree with the footnotes, but the principle was like to keep as many many possibilities of the Indonesian cultures to be translated. So it's not like that's why we keep the first question was like, okay, Kate and Reda, should we keep Pa, Mbo? And it's really awesome to to let the children around the world to know that that there are specific Japanese words to explain the exact thing. Like, but sometimes we trap into like some in the first book of Na Willa, there were some jokes, for example, and it was like a private joke for Reda and me, because we totally understand about this joke, but how to translate, how to make it funny, for example. Maybe Reda, you can help me, like for the footnotes. And yeah, that's all from me.
Yeah. I think the discussion about using the as much as the original words. I mean, like especially for food, for yeah, for how you call others. It's like more like we decide to. I think we agree with as to have the Indonesian touch or Indonesian flavor in the book. So it's like this is how Indonesian children call their mom, their dad, and but yes, there are some problem. Not problem. It's more like challenging. It's a bit challenging when you try to translate a song that is kind of poem that it's Dondong Opo Salak ya Ikhda. Dondong Opo Salak is the first two lines is about a fruit, and it has no connection with the third and the fourth line. So it's like that was challenging, and but I agree with what Ikhda and Kate came up at the times. And like if you said like we mentioned about kue cucur, cucur is a dish, is a sweet kind of. If you look at it, it looks, you may call it it looks like a pancake, but it's not a pancake because it made from rice flour with brown sugar, and then it was fried, and so we keep it I think, kue cucur. And there's some explanation because you cannot translate it to brown sugar pancake because it tastes so different. It has different ingredients, and yeah. And I think funny thing is about that kue cucur, especially here in Jakarta, in Indonesia, most of the children don't know about kue cucur either. So it's like when I read about this story to as one class in a school in South Jakarta, they're all just, what is kue cucur? Is it really good? How does it look like? So, and then the teacher decided to bring the kue cucur to the class, and then wow, so it's like, yeah, I think suddenly footnote is it's there for a reason, and it's appropriate, I think. And I wonder, maybe even from Indonesia, maybe we need to explain about kue cucur as well, because it's not well known anymore. I mean, like, it's kind of traditional dish, and not many people know about it. So yeah, it's more a creative decision, but at the same time, it's more, I don't know, it's more logic, I think, maybe, to have a footnote. I don't know. What do you think, Ikhda?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Na Willa is about whole things. It's about multiculturalism because, as you know, Na Willa is a Chinese Japanese kid, and I remember at the time when I was a child, I have so many friends, so many Chinese friends, and this, this is the powerful things about Na Willa. I think, like, Reda, you are such a, the complex the complex writer. You have no limits of imagination, and Na Willa's chapter, if you're reading Na Willa, if you're reading Na Willa in, like, whatever your mood is, if you're reading Na Willa chapter by chapter, you will see that a child, especially a multicultural child as Na Willa, has so many things to question: the identity, the situation, the new school, and then in Na Willa, in the house of the Ellie, Na Willa will move to other city, and the character of the city of Surabaya and Jakarta, they're not really the same, right? So the footnotes are so important, and once again, that the readers are coming from everywhere in the world. So it's not just about translating Na Willa, but Na Willa is like a brand. It's like an ambassador, actually, a child ambassador of Indonesian. I mean, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain. It's like the portrait of the real Indonesian child. Well, it's sad that like in all different countries, in all the countries in the world, children now are spending so much time in front of the gadget, and more like they don't have liberty to just running after the train like Degoul, or playing kite after school. yeah, so yeah, I can't really explain, but footnotes will help you understand more about Indonesian culture, and the chapter is itself, I think. And yeah, that's I hope it helps. And actually it wasn't James who asked about this question. It was, sorry.
Thank you for flagging that up, Ikhda. I think that's the terrible my error in setting up this meeting. That was from Anand Zafar. That was really
No
great, which
worries.
I also wanted to know. So
I was
thank you so
Kate
much,
before.
Anand.
No worries, Jojo. You're doing good. You're doing great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think it's really true that perhaps it's easy to forget that children are, especially the age of children that are reading Na Willa, already having to translate things anyway, and it's a very adult monolingual way to say, okay, this belongs to this language and this, but actually we can just include those words, and if there's an explanation for whoever's reading the book with them to say, okay, well, you know, this is what escapades is, or this is actually really exciting. It's just another element of discovery when they lots of the words are new, even if they're already in English. So I think it's one of the things that makes the books really special and especially exciting for younger readers. We've got another question, and then I think, Reda, would you still be happy to play a song for us to finish?
Yes,
Rather
yes,
than
yes.
these
Yes,
abrupt,
definitely.
Zoom ending. So before you do that, there's a question from Rennie, who says, are characters in Na Willa all inspired by real persons?
Yeah. A straight answer, yes. It's inspired by two real person, actually. I mean, like, the idea of writing Na Willa was from what I saw my daughter's was facing at the time. She was 4, and she came home with questions that I never had when I was at her age. She came home and she asked what's her religion, which, to my surprise, like, why a 4-year-old girl children ask about her religion? I never had that kind of idea when I was her age. I mean, like, I just playing around and just playing. I mean, I play with Farida, who's Muslim, but I didn't pay any attention to her religion. I just know that when 6 o'clock came, and then I just ran to her house and then reading Quran. And that's to me at the time that was normal. Not normal. That's my daily activities every day. And when I came home from Sunday school, every Sunday, Farida is there, like, asking me tiny pictures that I received from my Sunday school teacher. So it's like, and that's normal. I mean, like, she came home with that tiny pictures and show them to her mom, and her mom is so relaxed about it, and my mom was also so relaxed about me reading Quran at Farida's house. And then suddenly my daughter came home, like, asking her religion, because her friend said to her that she wouldn't play with my daughter if my daughter has a different religion from her. It's like, wow. So that's when I decided to write about what happened to parents, what's going on with parents' mind these days at the time. So, like, and that's not the only occasion. I think it's more like I found from my peers at the time, young mothers, like, oh, so now your religion is something that very important for you to pick up a friend, or to make friends. So it's kind of protest that I wrote a small article about it, but that I decided not to publish it, and I I tried to wrote it in a different way. And then suddenly I had an idea of me playing with Farida at her house. Well, her big brother was kind of uh, a scholar for Islam. I mean, like he studied in Cairo. So like many people came to their house listening to what he's preaching, and then like, so it's just so relaxed at the time. Nobody pay any attention. No, not. I mean, like my mom and my dad's being so easy about it. So I just thinking, why why it becomes a problem now? Why it's so? I take that. I took that fragment to answering my daughter's problem, to answering what my daughter's facing at that time. So actually, that's why I said Na Willa is never meant to be a children's book, because it's more like my kind of my saying to parents at the time, to my peers of, hey, don't you remember when you're young, when you're young, when you're children, when you were children, and then you just playing with whoever you want to play, and you just running around, you play under the playing with under the rain, and just didn't care if your skin is getting darker because of the sun. It just, now it's like everybody should have a fair skin, because that's beautiful. You have to have a straight hair, because that's beautiful. I mean, like having a curly hair is not cool nowadays. But I remember when I really want to have a curly hair, and I just running around under the rain. That's so fun. I mean, like, and why everybody, why the parents forgot about all those beautiful things, and they plan ideas to their children, like that we are different, we don't play with those, we just have to play with our own groups. I'm like, that's crazy. So Na Willa was meant to be a kind of protest. So yeah, I mean, like, so the idea, back to the question from Rennie, uh, is an idea. It started with a conversation. I mean, like, not conversation, situation when with Socha, my daughter, and what I have in mind. So I'm picking up stories from, the idea is coming from her problem, and I relate to what I had in the past. This is how my parents deal with that. This is what I was having at the time for that kind of problem. So it's like more like this. And for the second book, I think there's also the idea is the main idea is moving. It's like having a new place, having a new life, departing. It's like, and there's also things that my daughter's facing, and I have another experience about it. So yeah, I shared. I mean, it's more like sharing both stories from two people and put it in like mixing and like mixing it all together. Hope it answered the question.
Yeah. Can I just add a little bit
Yes,
of
yes, please.
Reda's point? Yeah, that's when I first well, when the opportunity came, the first thing I did was like reading all the whole book of Na Willa in Indonesian, right, in Bahasa Indonesia, and I was so surprised, and in the same time I was so like total agree with everything, with all the stories, with all the questions that Na Willa, a little girl, has in her head. I mean, all the questions about the cultures, the different religions, the different cultures. That's why I think Na Willa is a is a children's book, which offering you like the not like the other book. It's not like a book with a moral, with a constant moral or stagnant moral that the kids are reading. It's a wonderful book. It's a very good book, critical book that your kids or as parents we should read, because yeah, to learn about the difference, to learn about the different times, different eras, and the time changed so it's a book about the critics. The question will waking up your mind as parents, and as a parent, or your kids mind. It's the gift from Reda Gaudiamo. So yeah, I totally recommend this book, not because I'm a co-translator, but it's an amazing book that can, you'll have this compact, emotional, but also intelligent, and again, it will help you to discover Indonesia more. So yeah, just grab the book, and it's really worth it. Thank you so much, Reda and Kate. That's all for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being a great example of a translator, also championing this beautiful book. And I think you both captured perfectly that it's a bit of a cliche for people to say deceptively simple, but I think it really is. You look at it and think, oh, it's just a beautiful book for children, but all those complex questions and discussions that you've raised are in there, and I think that's why it's so successful. So I will just like to say thank you both again so much.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Ikhda.
Thank you for all the attendees for bearing with my terrible mistakes in technology and time difference. And rather than the abrupt normal ending, Reda is going to play us out with a song. So over to you, Reda.
Thank you. Can I sing 2 songs for you? Is it okay?
Please.
Okay. Okay, the first one is a song that is on the book, on the radio, in chapter called On the Radio. But I'll sing it in Indonesia. Is it okay? The sound is okay? Di taman bunga yang sangat indah, kami bermain bersenang-senang. Di sana sini menanti, di kanan kiri harum mewangi. Di taman bunga yang sangat indah, kami bermain bersenang-senang. Di kanan kiri melati, di sana sini mewangi. And that's the song from the second book, and I'm going to sing one more for you. This one is my favorite one. If you know the song, you can sing with me. Raindrops and roses are whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles, and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages, tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and cribs, apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells, and schnitzels with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and my lashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, simply remember my favorite things. And I don't feel so bad. Mhm.